Well, ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your black and white scarves because things at Newcastle United are about to take off. Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on this Monday afternoon. It has been reported, confirmed this afternoon that Manchester City have won their legal battle with the Premier League over governing commercial deals between clubs and related companies, deeming it unlawful. This is not to do with the 115 point stuff that Manchester City is dealing with separately. This is to do with the rule that was pretty much, in my opinion, allegedly brought in to basically combat the Newcastle United owners. We know that quite shortly after the Newcastle ownership of the PIF came in, a rule was brought out to effectively govern or censor what was sponsorship deals, even the movement of players as to what was fair market value. We saw it when we sold St Maximin to another PIF club. The fee for me was low, and it's all part of this Premier League decision or rule that was created to monitor, censor what deals were going through between companies who owned football clubs and that's companies' other investments, other areas. Well, as I say, reported by the Times, Daily Mail, it's understood that Man City have won that legal battle against the Premier League, deeming it to be unlawful. Among Man City's arguments, they said that the changes were down to fear-mongering against the Saudi takeover of Newcastle United, and also claimed that the rules were specifically aimed at Gulf-owned clubs, citing an email from one Premier League club on behalf of 11 others, but the panel found it not to be the case. But anyway, as I say, Newcastle United have been what has felt like held back. We saw nothing happen in the January window, and I understand that to some degree there's an idea of fairness across the Premier League, etc., etc. For me, my opinion, Newcastle have been clearly pushed down and held back. There was at no point did someone turn around and go, you know, all these Sports Direct signs in the stadium, how much money does that make you? Oh, it's actually not making you any money, because it's just going to, in my opinion, the previous owner's gain. No one was bothered then. You know, suddenly Newcastle have the money, have the ability to compete with these other clubs, and suddenly the Premier League, the non-biased entity of the league, is putting in a rule that flat out blocks Newcastle. You know, in a way, it's also been quite good for us that it hasn't been us in the firing line. It hasn't been, we've actually been very good with it. We didn't spend any money this summer window, and that was Newcastle trying to be careful with PSR, staying under the line, not trying to get in trouble, not trying to give another reason for someone to have a go at us. Well, Manchester City themselves have taken it upon themselves and found it to be unlawful. I mean, if you saw my video a couple of weeks ago where this was rumoured of a first posed as it looked like a win for Man City, I think I was sat in the shed and I was saying, look, if I sold you, you know, if I went out and picked a few flowers, picked a few whatever, and sold them on a street corner, and I was selling them for 10 quid a go, and people were happy to pay that amount, and then Mr. Premier League or Mr. some shop from around the corner goes, you can't sell them for 10 quid. You can only sell them for 5 quid, because I think that the share market value of Rob's flowers is half the price. And I'll go, what the hell? This is my business. I'm in charge here. You can't decide what I do. And that is, like, in a nutshell, what has been happening with the Premier League. They've put it upon themselves to decide what things should be worth. So, why is this big for Newcastle United? Well, there's no denying that the PIF are absolutely huge, and they're absolutely loaded, and we've not been able to spend any of that money. It doesn't mean that in terms of FFP, we can now just pull out our war chest of 300 billion or however much the PIF have or want to spend with Newcastle United, but what it does mean is that we can start to create major wealth and funding revenues that we had previously been blocked on. We've discussed a million times the training ground sponsor. Where's the training ground sponsor? Where's the training kit sponsor? Well, if the PIF fancy giving it to one of their own companies, to Saudi Air, you know, Saudi Air training ground at Newcastle, how much do you want to sponsor us per season for the training ground? Let's have a think. 2 billion. then we could make that happen. This is potentially this is huge in the world of Newcastle. If only this had happened, slightly earlier in the summer window, we might have actually seen a little bit more push. But for the future, and this is another thing that we talk about a lot. It's very much easy in football to be in the here and now, and that wasn't great. And the game against Everton, we didn't win when we should have. We've always known that with these owners that it would go that way. It may go like this a little bit, like that, but it will always have that trajectory trend that way. And it may be that we don't quite have the war chest ready for January, but you know for a fact that with these laws lifted, we have so many more options. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a Saudi-owned company. It could be any company. It could be obviously we've had the Adidas one come in very recently. Newcastle is a club that's rising, and the pushback on us at the moment is if you were going to deem how much a sponsorship is worth, right? Well, Man City finished first. Newcastle finished in the Champions League, but only once in the last 10 years. They came 7th last year. Previous to that, they were always down the bottom. So we'll give an average range of Newcastle as finishing about 10th in the last 10 years, or even less. Or will they are only allowed that much? We're a club that's on the push, and if any sponsors are out there see that and will see that, Newcastle can naturally ask for more. We can naturally say, okay, actually, Adidas, we, fair enough, didn't get Champions League this season, but we will be very, very soon, and we will continue to rise, and we will continue to get better. Our global exposure is going to grow and grow and grow, and it just means that we have the ability, like any business should, to play around, talk to, and make sponsorships that actually work for us. There's no denying, however, that as much as we can go out and find better deals with other players in the game, it's fair enough that Adidas, Nike are the big boys, and they're the ones that are front and centre, but it's not to say that we can't find somebody else who maybe previously we would not have been allowed to accept a higher bid from. We can use that to our advantage. And as I say, there is no denying that when you're dealing with owners like the PIF, they will have businesses who want to work with them. Newcastle United, it's big. It's a Premier League team. If you want to get your sponsor or your face on the global stage, Newcastle United is the way to do it. But if you're a business who wants to be working with the PIF and you want to get in with them, PIF turn around and go, you know what it is? You're keen to do a bit of business with us. Sponsor our football, sponsor our shirt sponsor our training ground, sponsor our substitute bibs on the sideline. Because we could open this up. It totally changes the game if this runs the way it has been reported today. And as I say, reported that Man City statement confirmed legal win over Premier League. Now, the thing is that it's very exciting. And I think this could well be some big things to come from this. I would be surprised if the Premier League didn't turn around and try and do something to either stop it, hamper it, or bring something else forward to try and scupper or slow down the movement of what is happening. As I said already in my very, very basic version, the Premier League, the mediator, who's meant to be trying to help you, has gone in and is trying to mediate themselves legal dealings that have really nothing to do with them. But they will. I am excited. It is a big step, obviously, for Man City, but for Newcastle United. That's why we're here talking on this channel. I would be surprised if the Premier League themselves didn't find a way to go, loophole. What about this or what about that? So I'll reserve, exactly how excited I get up to here. When Newcastle United announced their brand new training ground sponsor tomorrow morning, fingers crossed, that's when we'll start jumping for joy. But right now, it's a big step in a big direction in what could well be the change of, on the face of it, the change of football, the change of Newcastle United and where we can push and where we can go to. Because there's no denying the likes of Bruno, the likes of Isak, likes of Gordon, rumoured to be signing a new contract with Newcastle United. These players are looking for Champions League football. These players are looking for European football. We didn't spend any money in the summer. And we want to try and get there back this season. But as I've said a million times, I'll be here as long as it takes, hopefully for Newcastle to go ahead and achieve big. Isak and Bruno might not be the case. And that's why things like this, it helps us, it helps the club, it helps push. It helps keep the players that we want because it's showing ambition of the club and where we want to go to. Woo! Whew, there you go. That was, after what was a little bit of a flat journey to Liverpool yesterday, that was the Monday afternoon pick-me-up that I needed. Thoughts and comments down below on what could be next for Newcastle United. Big Yas. Cannot wait to see what he can organise next. All right. Training ground sponsor. As I say, what else can we sponsor? You know, sponsoring the pies at half time. Who wants to pay for that? Get your logo on the Newcastle pies. You know, honestly, potential is potentially limitless if this goes the way it's looking. Thanks for watching, guys. Whew, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll catch you later.